Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Good Tuesday News Day. We are covering all the good news you need to know about so you have hope in humanity again and hope in our planet because it's getting hot out there. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father-daughter podcast where we look up our news stories right before we've started. We've just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's roll that segue, Will, but first, get into today's headlines.
Yay, headlines.
Today on Good Tuesday News Day. How Seo Kim's tragic plane crash built a volunteer army of pet rescuers. And photos show penguins, seals, and orcas in the warming Antarctic Peninsula.
We're going to talk about a new plastic in Japan that degrades in just a few hours. And thousands of couples gather under the mistletoe in Washington D.C. to kiss their way into the world record.
In more environmental news, he brought over 600 water bodies back to life. His next mission, saving India's vanishing step wells. And extraordinarily rare polar bear adoption filmed in Hudson Bay.
And it's Festivus for the rest of us. We're going to catch up on that one-time non-existent holiday.
And in my culture news, have yourself a freaky Christmas. These are the strangest European folklores explained.
And it's National Roots Day. So if you have roots, we all do. And we're all in a family tree. But they all have roots, and there's your metaphor. It's National Roots Day. Figure out where you came from on December 23rd, 2025 on Before Coffee.
I thought by Roots Day it meant like beets and potatoes and turnips.
Tubers. Those are called tubers, I believe.
I remember my great-grandfather, the turnip.
He'll turn up somewhere.
Hey!
Okay. All right. So
okay, let's roll our segue for our first stories here, which I will be cutting up into pieces because supposedly they're really long stories. We'll see. Let's go with an alliteration headline for our first segue. That's you on the screen. I need to put myself on the screen. This is coming out of Korea, specifically South Korea, by Jennifer Peltz on AP News. Coming out of Brandy Station, Virginia. Or maybe it's not from Korea. I thought it said it was from Korea.
Where's it from?
Now I'm now confused. I'm getting mixed signals from the headline. On a sparkling late fall Sunday, at a rural Virginia airfield, 60 careworn passengers were getting off a flight that saved their lives. Some looked bemused, some wary, some enthusiastic as they carried off a small private plane on the tarmac at Culpeper Regional Airport. They were escorted to a grassy patch for a potty break and fresh air before catching their connecting flights. The 3 cats and 13 dogs, including a skinny, shy pit bull named Jenny and her 7 puppies, were part of a complex weekly airlift conducted by a far-flung, loose-knit group of volunteers, pilots, and animal lovers. For some years, they have bought pets from overwhelmed southern animal shelters to foster and rescue groups far north. Okay, so this is about somebody taking pets from, let's say, Atlanta and taking them to Virginia. Is Virginia far north? Probably more like to Michigan or something.
Oh, Virginia's in the south.
No, I know where Virginia is. It's just funny to say far north, but then this is in Virginia. But I guess this is the halfway point so that the animals can take their potty break. But this day was special. The volunteers relayed 117 animals, about twice as many as usual, to mark the anniversary of a tragedy that transformed the group. Member Seo Kim's fatal crash on a rescue flight on November 24th, 24. Everybody feels it, said Sydney Galley, the co-founder and CEO of the group, now called Seok's Army. But she said he would be so excited to see us with so many dogs. Kim, 49, had realized a childhood dream of learning how to fly and was looking to make a career of it after decades working in the financial sector. The Springfield, Virginia man also liked animals. So after connecting with Gally and others through an animal rescue discussion board called Pilots and Paws, he was in. All in. Kim did multiple animal flights a week and recruited other pilots. He also brought batteries, diapers, and other supplies to people in need after Hurricane Helene last year. But on his last day, Kim left Culpeper with 4 dogs, delivered one to Maryland Airport, and then took off for the rest for Albany, New York. His 1986 Mooney M20J plane went down in New York's Catskill Mountains, which is an interesting coincidence. He had dogs on board and it crashed in Catskill Mountains. After reported hitting turbulence.
Catskill. Right.
The crash killed Kim and one of the dogs, but the other 2 survived and were adopted. I don't think I can do this anymore, Carissa Gregory, who with Gally coordinates the flights, told other volunteers after Kim's death. But one of the pilots, Clay Parkhurst, reminded her that aviator assesses and accepts the risk of flying. He thinks of Kim whenever he flies animals and dips his plane wings in tribute if he passes the crash site. Still, Parkhurst, who does charity medical flights, had no qualms about continuing the animal transports. I just want to keep the legacy that we started together, Parkhurst said recently. While Kim's family and friends mourned, news coverage drew attention, new volunteers, and more partners to the grassroots nonprofit coordinated largely via WhatsApp chats and Facebook posts. A year later, what is now Sioux Army transports 2 to 3 times as many animals as it did before, Gregory said. Pilots use their own planes and pay flight costs, which run hundreds of dollars an hour. Gally, her husband and co-founder pilot Jerry Stevens, and other volunteers have largely underwritten veterinary bills, supplies, and other needs. But the Piedmont, South Carolina-based groups has started taking organizational and fundraising steps, including a 5K charity run last June at the Culpeper Airport, the group's ad hoc hub. Airport manager Tanya Woodward says a local grant writer is looking for potential donors to fund a dedicated outdoor area for the animals. In a nation where shelters and rescue organizations take in millions of cats and dogs annually, and hundreds and thousands of euthanized for no reason that include lack of space, rescue flights open new foster possibilities for agencies like the Heard County Animal Control Center in Franklin, Georgia. With its 20 kennels always full and animals sometimes doubled up, the center works with Sioux Army to transport as many as 8 pets a week across the country, Director Kylie Putzek said. She said Heard County doesn't euthanize animals because of overcrowding these days, but it wouldn't be the same story without the rescue flights. So, there's more on this story about different instances in which they, took a puppy and how things have changed in this year since Kim's death. But the positive thing about the story is that somebody started something, and then other people were so inspired by Kim that they continued his work long after he tragically lost his life, doing what he loved, which is transporting these animals to new homes and getting them to actually be adopted, right? Because if they get killed in a kill shelter, they'll never see a home. They'll be dead. So that's the positive turn for this story, how somebody's life inspired an organization to just pop up.
All right,
8 times more animals than before.
Don't give up. If one person can do it, so can another person. And don't let planes crash. So that very short headline. My very short headline is called "Pet Plane Persists" because I couldn't find it with a whole lot other anything. I was going to put previous pressure.
Patiently procuring puppies.
Procuring? There's always procuring. It's
like, procuring puppies from disimpassioned. Are
they procuring? Means you acquired and you're going to keep it, right? I don't even know. Anyway, whatever. You can't write my headline for me. What are you doing? It's my headline.
My next story is about. Well, we're speaking about animals, and they've discovered an entire community of animals living in the Antarctic Peninsula as our planet gets warmer. We talked about this, I believe, last week. The polar bears, the southern polar bears, who are learning to adapt to the changing environment due to climate change. And it looks like they found some more animals who are able to adapt to this changing weather. This is by Mark Baker on AP News as well, coming out of Antarctica. The Southern Ocean is one of the most remote places on Earth, but that doesn't mean it's tranquil. Tumultuous waves that can swallow vessels ensure that Antarctic Peninsula has a constant drone of ocean. While it can be loud, the view is serene at first glance. It's only deep blue water and blinding white ice. Several hundred meters or yards off the coast emerges a small boat with a couple dozen tourists in bright red jackets. They are holding binoculars, hoping for a glimpse of orcas, seals, and penguins that they call this tundra home. They are in the Lemaire Channel, nicknamed the Kodak Gap, referring to the film and camera company because it's picture-perfect cliffs and ice formations. This narrow strip of navigatable water gives anybody who gets this far south a chance to see what is at stake as climate change, caused mainly by the burning of oil and gas and coal, leads to steady rise in global average temperatures. The Antarctic Peninsula stands out as one of the fastest warming places in the world. The ocean that surrounds it is also a major repository for carbon dioxide, as greenhouse gas that contributes to its warming. It captures and stores roughly 40% of the CO2 emitted by humans, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. On recent days, Gen 2 penguins, who sport slender orange beaks and white spots above their eyes, appear to be putting on a show. They took breaks from their dives into the icy water to nest on exposed rocks. As the planet warms, they are migrating farther south. Or is it farther north? Because we're on a globe, right? If you're standing in Antarctica, in a way, you're above the globe, right? There's no, you're looking down. As the planet warms, they're migrating farther south. They prefer to colonize rock and fish in open water, allowing them to grow in population. Then there's a bunch of photos, a bunch of penguins, an elephant seal, some more penguins, a giant iceberg. For tourists, Antarctica is still a giant glacial expanse that is home to only select species that can tolerate such harsh conditions. For example, in the Drake Passage, a dangerous strip of tumultuous ocean, tourists stand in wonder while watching orca whales swim in the narrow strip of water and pintado petrels soar above. The majestic views in Antarctica, however, will likely be starkly different in decades ahead. The growing Gen 2 penguin colonies, the shrinking pieces of floating ice, and the increasing instances of exposed rock in Antarctica Peninsula all underscore a changing landscape. More pictures of penguins and also some orcas and
I don't think this even qualifies as good news. I think this qualifies as the planet's getting really hot and everything's changing.
Yeah. But even with this changing landscapes, the animals in the Antarctic are able to adapt and get their way onto these rocks and survive.
Yeah, you adapt
and they're showing that they will not be stopped just because of us darn humans. So the nature will win out, whether it wants
the volcanoes.
We want it to or not.
Volcanoes and earthquakes will take care of most of us, I would imagine, and the viruses will take care of the rest, right? That's not really good news. All right, so do you have ready for headline?
I'm ready for your headline.
Antarctic animals arrive astutely acquiring isles available. Of course, isle starts with an A. That's spelling of isle, as in corridor. Hear it again. Antarctic animals arrive astutely acquiring available isles.
It works because it sounds the same sound.
No, it doesn't have the same sound. It starts with an A. Isle. A-I-S-L-E.
That's how you spell aisle in a store.
Right. A-I-S-L-E. Aisle. Yeah. Same as a corridor. An aisle. Right? A corridor. They're in a corridor where they can survive.
I thought you meant aisle like a smaller island.
That starts with an I. Because it doesn't start with an A.
But it has the same sound. The question isn't about spell. Is it about? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We don't care. I don't care about the rules. I'm just here to do news stories.
Does aisle sound that much different?
The segue thing is your thing. I don't really care about it being accurate.
I don't think aisle. I don't think Isle sounds that much different than A, really. Doesn't.
Yeah, I just misunderstood. I thought you were talking about an isle, like an island, because that's where they're on. They're little rock isles.
There's different A sounds. There's the A sound, there's the A sound, and there's the I sound. There is. And then one of them is Isle.
And that's your English lesson for today. Let's roll our segue wheel for your story. For the...
It starts with an A. Don't
sarcasm. Oh,
okay,
great. I'm sure this is going to be a great story. I've already started with the sarcasm.
Sarcasm. Okay. First two stories I didn't even announce because I closed them. But the Oscars are moving to YouTube. That's good news. Don't want to drag the whole show down on just that. The Oscars are moving to YouTube and starting in 2029.
I just spilled water on my shirt.
I'm just reading this story from the, let's do it. It's from the Collider. Thomas Butt is his name. And it says in this link, it says, the recent announcement of the Academy Awards will begin airing in its annual ceremony on YouTube starting in 2019. Really? It's starting 6 years ago? I want to see that.
It must be 2029.
No, YouTube's invented
it's typo.
YouTube has invented a time machine. So anyway, that's
I knew there was a reason. I feel like I'm in a permanent delirium. It's because I'm in a time machine.
It doesn't really help us a whole lot as far as consumers. We're still going to be kowtowing to YouTube, which is owned by Google, which is basically, clamps down on anybody. I was looking at the 20 best.
No clamping.
Right. And don't forget, Golden Globes has a podcast category now, right? So we're going to get us one of our, because you can do this at Golden Globes, you can submit a show to the Golden Globes for consideration. And we can take one of our best shows and submit it to the Golden Globe and say, look, don't overlook us. They won't care, but whatever. There's your story about the Oscars. Another story is about CBS. Well, it's ABC was previously carrying the Oscars. Of course, we know what ABC did earlier this year. They decided, Jimmy Kimmel made a joke. Let's take him off the air. So screw ABC and screw Disney. And also screw CBS because they pulled the report and it has turned up in Canadian television because they forgot they released a Canadian TV outlets. And Canadian TV outlets said, we don't care about your stupid rules and who you piss off. So the Canadians have picked up that 60-minute story on the prisons in El Salvador. That's good news because you can watch it. We don't want to be suppressed. We don't want news suppressed. And this country is. That's your update from yesterday's
story for anyone who wasn't here. Yeah.
This is a great deal of what it's like in North Korea, right? The news only tells you what they want you to hear. North Korea, of course, North Korea will never see this. Just like we won't see real news anymore in the United States. We're just going to get crap. We're going to get crap that's spoon-fed to us from all the networks.
It's Good Tuesday News Day, so let's not go too much into the cynicism about how everything sucks, please.
The good news is there's other countries out there that can disseminate this information just as we can, and there's always leaks, and there's always, of course, you fire all the good reporters, you're never going to have a reporter. I guess that's what it is. You just want to, and the bottom line is Trump works for Russia. We're going to do our
good news. We know he works for Russia. Surprise.
Thousands of couples gather under the mistletoe of Washington, D.C. to kiss their way into the new world record. Smithsonian has the story, the Smithsonian Mag. Ella Feldman, as we get into the good news, really, I guess, good news, indifferent news maybe. Giant mistletoe hanging over. Why'd they have to make it so big, right? It's like a 70-pound mistletoe hanging over people's heads. I hope the windstorm doesn't come up. Thousands of people and many, many sprigs of a certain festive shrub later, the nation's capital holds a world record for the most couples kissing underneath the mistletoe. On December 13th, a whole 10 days ago, 1,435 couples gathered in downtown Washington, D.C. under a massive mistletoe installation to kiss simultaneously for 5 seconds. In doing so, they nearly tripled the Guinness World Record previously set in 2019.
Wow.
In St. Louis, where 480 couples had locked lips. St. Louis, you can only get 480 people that like each other. I'm sorry, 960 people that like each other. Events like this bring together in such a memorable, joyful way to show the true vibrancy and energy of the city that we love. Garen Price, president of the CEO of Downtown DC Business Improvement District, or the BID, says in the statement, breaking a record takes a lot of planning, coordination, Michael.
And some money. You have to pay the Guinness World Records. Says, hey, can you give us this award?
Do you have to pay them? I don't think you have to pay them.
Some of them, yeah. You have to pay the guy to come over to judge you.
Really? Then it's not a record.
Yeah,
if you're paying them, it's not a record. If they're taking kickbacks, it's not a record. You need to get people under your attempt. You need to get people to your attempt. You need that real mistletoe to kiss under, and everyone needs to be a couple. And Prick said, you can't just come as a solo participant.
You have to come with a wedding license? What do you mean?
Couple, not a wedding license. Who the hell is married?
No, I'm just saying they have to be a couple. I'm like, how do you prove that they're a couple?
There's two of you. That's pretty simple. It narrows it down. There's one of you, you're not a couple. If there's two of you, you are a couple. If there's three of you, that's not a couple. It's
a throuple.
The way that works. Yeah, no thruples. Anyway, people have been kissing under mistletoe for centuries. Historians aren't exactly when the tradition started. When the earliest written reference comes in 1784 in a musical comedy, 2 for 1. Bettina Arnold, anthropologist from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, tells NPR. The song lyric celebrates what good luck is yet ye and kiss beneath the mistletoe. And around 1820, the legend of Sleepy Hollow author, Washington Irving, we're going to talk about him, the mistletoe with its white berries hung up to the imminent peril of all the pretty housemaids. So Sleepy Hollow. Of course, the Headless Horseman was the star of that one. Long before it was a symbol of romance, mistletoe represented fertility. The Druids, high-ranking Celtic priests, or Celtic priests, revered the plant, which blossoms even during winter's coldest months. For centuries, the plant had also played a role in European medicine. The Greeks and Romans used it to treat everything from menstrual cramps to epilepsy. There's your history of mistletoe and what we're doing in D.C. with it. And I'll have one more story, and let's have us, did you have limerick?
I had sarcasm, which is why I was being so sarcastic the entire time. Wow.
Right,
I can't believe Canada is better than the United States. No one saw that coming. Other sarcasm. I just love getting my tongue twisted by another human being. Isn't it the best thing ever? Good old mistletoe. I hang those all over the house so I can make out with everyone. There's your sarcasm. You're welcome.
Is that true? Sounds true.
I've literally never been kissed under mistletoe. Not that I want to be. I'm just saying it's never happened to me. I've never been in that scenario, and I guess I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I've never been in that situation.
Okay. And more good news from the inertia.com, Alexander Haro, H-A-R-O. A new plastic is here, and it biodegrades in salt water in just a few hours. Hello. This is what we need. Plastic just stays for centuries and eons and eons and eons. And people, as I said before, the spider monkeys in 10,000 years or whatever are going to come upon a big pile of Tupperware and declare it a gift from God. And the spider monkeys will worship the Tupperware until they
remember, we're believers in the plastic religion, which is the idea that we're only here on the planet to create plastic, and now that we've done our job, we've been abandoned by God.
That's possible. I'm not. I'm part of that. I see what you're saying, but I don't think that's an actual religion. It's more of a religion will require like people in a building and believe in a bunch of crap that everybody.
Well, I think as long as two people believe in it, it's a religion.
2 people is a cult, 3 people is a group, and I don't know.
Okay, so we're 2 people, a couple, you could say, that believes in plastic.
I believe my deepest held belief is the Earth don't give a crap if we're here or not, and we're destroying our atmosphere for sure. We're destroying that, the air we breathe. We're definitely destroying that, but Earth really doesn't care if we're here or not. It's been through worse.
Yeah.
You likely know that our addiction to all things plastic is killing the planet. Microplastics are everywhere, from the snow to the sea to the blood in our veins. In our quest for ease, we've created something pretty magical, but that magical thing we created is having some unforeseen and devastating consequences. Animals are dying. We're killing ourselves slowly, and that despite the fact that we know this, we just keep puking it out at a ridiculous pace. If we can only make a plastic that worked just as well as the toxic stuff, but was biodegradable, well, we're in luck, maybe. A team of researchers led by Takuzo Aidi and the Riken Center for Emergency Matter Science in Japan made a new type of plastic from plant cellulose. This is not new, actually. They've just been doing this for years, actually. But
yeah, that's true.
We want something that'll last and won't biodegrade before its time. That is, for the unaware, the most abundant organic compound on the planet is plant cellulose. According to the reports, it is strong, flexible, capable of decomposition in natural environments. Let's not forget hemp either, right? Hemp is a very good, what is it called? Raw material for all this stuff. Recycling, as it stands today, is surprisingly ineffective overall. It does save resources in the recycling industry, but the overall recycling rate of plastic is around trifling 9%. Things like aluminum, paper, and glass are far easier to manage, but plastic? Oh, is it ever a scourge? It is nearly impossible to avoid if you live in society, so don't feel guilty about reading what I've written on a computer made of plastic, on a photo also made of plastic, in a way that's set up for society that's a problem. Around a year ago, Ada and his team created a cellulose-based plastic degraded in salt water within a few hours. No microplastics were left behind because the material is made from a pair of polymers that are held together by interactions that can be reversed. When the salt water is introduced to it, the bonds that hold them together are broken, and the plastic stopped being plastic. Although it was indeed an amazing creation with plenty of uses, Ada knew it wasn't what he set up to create. It wasn't practical in a real-world situation, so he and his team kept on slogging away, getting to the slog. What they came up with very similar to the type is still made of two polymers, but now one is an FDA-approved biodegradable wood pulp derivative called cellulose. The other took a bit of effort to find. This meant they had to mix the natural before finding which one worked. What they eventually landed was a cross-linking agent made of positively charged polyethylene imine granadium ions. When cellulose and granadium were mixed with water, they formed a plastic material that's held together by salt bridges. When salt water is introduced, these salt bridges break apart, and the material rapidly begins to decompose into its original elements. Even though new plastic decomposed quickly initially from being too brittle because of the cellulose. Reason about the discovery. The resulting plastic was colorless, transparent, extremely hard, but the fragile glass-like quality. What the team needed was a good plasticizer. Plastic means flexible, right? Some small molecule where they could add the mix to make plastic more flexible and yet remain hard. I call it ain't plastic unless it's flexible, because that's actually the word plastic, right? It means it can be manipulated. You can manipulate glass. After much more experimenting, they discovered that the organic salt chlorine chloride worked wonders. Choline chloride. The chlorine chloride, that seems like just a bunch of chloride. Chlorine, right? Choline, CHOLIN, chloride worked for wonders by adding varying amounts of this FDA-approved food additive in the plastic. FDA-approved, it doesn't mean shit. The FDA is a bunch of...
Yeah, as everyone knows, the FDA has always been totally not paid out by the government. Oh, sorry, I'm doing my sarcasm already.
we went through a list like last year of the things that are approved for use in the United States and aren't approved anywhere else in our food.
And the other way, right? Things that are poison. You know? Oh, we're gonna ban that because Big Milk paid us to ban that ingredient. So we're, you know, that happens too.
By adding varying amounts of FDA-approved food additive plastic, the researchers were able to fine-tune exactly how flexible they wanted the plastic to be. There's a video that shows a bag made of new plastic decomposing in just a few hours. Like any good product, the technologies rely on previous trials. While our initial study focused mostly on the conceptual, the study shows that our work is now a more practical stage, says Ada. And there's your story on the plastic that we can make from biodegradable stuff that just throw it in some salt water. I just wonder how much salt water you need and what the salinity level of the salt water has to be, because all water has salt in it unless it's completely distilled. It has some salt in it. So I'm just wondering how fast it decomposes just regular water with the low saline levels. That would be my question. Let's have a sarcasm.
Well, Now that we've invented this, I'm sure it'll take us 500 years to actually adopt it. Remember that stuff called marijuana? Now you can make certain fabrics out of its fiber.
Well, hemp.
And hemp.
Right, hemp.
So great.
Yeah.
Hemp is like probably the most biodegradable, cost worth, just environmentally friendly fabric.
Oh, don't forget.
And let's make it illegal because people get high off the plants. Right?
Oh, Trump's making hemp illegal while he's making THC
exactly.
legal.
Like, but why would we use hemp?
Can you imagine?
We could use more plastic, you know?
Nothing says you're in a pocket of big oil like making hemp illegal while you're making THC legal. That makes no sense.
That for me, right? That obviously that's not FDA based, but for me, that is an example of how the government will get lobbied by some company somewhere and decide we're banning that ingredient from all food because the thing that doesn't use that ingredient wants to make more money and we don't want it to be replaced. So that's banned now, and it happens all the time. I just learned, right, this is a conspiracy theory, so that I read on the internet, which is about dentistry. Supposedly there is an ingredient in a European mouthwash and toothpaste that actually helps repair enamel and also deters plaque buildup. That ingredient is banned in the United States. And of course, so people take that and say, wait a minute, is this a big dentistry conspiracy, right? Let's make everyone use the shittier toothpaste and mouthwash so that their teeth get, more cavities and then they have to come to the dentist. That's the conspiracy anyways. Just an idea for you there. Let's roll our segue for my stories.
Let's do it.
Next segue is accurate metaphor simile.
I didn't applaud your sarcasm. There you go. What's my segue? I was too busy spinning the...
You're reading about all the conspiracy theories.
What did I spend? That's my spend.
Accurate metaphor and simile.
Okay, thank you. I don't always hear you.
Where is my stories? There it is. My next story is about a man who brought over 600 water bodies back to life. So lakes, rivers, streams in India. And now he's working on the step wells. This is from CNN by, I don't know who wrote the story, but I'm sure it'll show up somewhere, written by somewhere. Michelle Cohen. Editor's note, Call to Earth is a CNN editorial series committed to reporting on the environmental challenges facing our planet, together with solutions. So that's what this is from. Against the backdrop of growing water crisis in India, an ancient subterranean labyrinth-like structure is emerging as one solution to bolster its shrinking reserves. Step wells. These intricate terrace repositories, which are proof that humans have always been intelligent, because they're pretty old too, and the architecture is amazing. Ancient architecture, it looks like. It's probably even not that old, but it looks ancient, These intricate terraced repositories were once the lifeblood of Indian communities, developed centuries ago to store and access water for drinking, agriculture, and industry. They also function as local gathering spots. Today, many of these architectural marvels have deteriorated, victims of neglect, pollution, and rapidly urbanizing India. I think the step wells are pretty urban. Maybe they're not made out of cement, but I would say that's a pretty urban thing, which is now the most populous nation in the world. But as Indian environmentalists have made it his new mission to tap into this technology of the past to secure water for its future. For almost 20 years, Arun Krishnamurthy has worked to bring India's blighted bodies of water back to life through his organization, Environmentalist Foundation of India. EFI, as part of a Rolex Perpetual Planet Initiative. So I guess every time you buy a watch, this guy gets another step well. EFI has restored 657 water bodies across 19 states, from lakes to ponds, and most recently, step wells. Step wells restoration is a big implementation challenge that I would like to add to EFI's responsibilities, because he has a great responsibility now on protecting these historical assets, which are a testament to human intelligence. Krish Narmurthy tells CNN during an interview in India. EFI already draws on the step wells' ingenuity of its forebears to guide its lakes and pond restoration effects. He added, the engineering of it, land use, understanding the hydrological flow, the storage parameters, how was the embankment laid, were there any palm trees planted, how was the canal cut. Krish Narmurthy says, so taking lessons from the past, adapting it to the present day challenges is what we are implementing. Despite his extensive experience rehabilitating freshwater bodies, Krish Narmurthy says step wells are uniquely demanding. Restoring these ancient structures calls for specialized traditional knowledge and craftsmanship, and even after they revive, vandalism makes their upkeep an ongoing struggle. EFI hires local experts with generational knowledge relating to the specific wells they aim to revive. This is my great-grandfather. He's lived in this town for generations, and he remembers when it was built. I hope not. That would be a really old man. A centuries-old man. It has been begun planning renovations of step wells in Devanahalli near Bangalore that has gone completely dry. Although the stone infrastructure is mostly intact, Krishnamurthy says this step well will require some aesthetic improvements. It will also need community engagement and accountability to safeguard its future. As one of the most advanced ancient civilizations in the world, India is known for sophisticated urban planning, from its grid-structured cities to its elaborate step wells and temple tanks. Like, I wish I could show you the images of these places. They look like they don't look real. Like, this is not a real, this looks like it's from a fantasy, but it's real. It exists in our planet, and we're just letting them go to rot. Hundreds of years ago, there was no electricity. People were dependent on surface water bodies, Krishnamurthy says. They needed deep down underground storage units, slowly but steadily pumping water from the ground below to raise up. So step wells or temple tanks were created. These ornately carved reservoirs captured and store rainwater, which slowly filters through layers of sand and porous stone, making it clean for drinking. A natural filter. The addition of descending steps allows people to access the water year-round, even as levels fluctuate. In India, water is considered sacred. I mean, everyone should be considering water sacred. We need it to live. So many wells are not just like for animals to live. Like, we need to drink water every 3 days or we'll die. So many wells are crafted as inverted temples, embellished with carvings and divine sculptures as an expression of reverence for this precious resource. EFI has restored 2 step wells to date and has another 6 slated for 26, according to Krishnamurthy. India's story has always been shaped by water. From the glaciers in the Himalayas to the wetlands of the south, the nation is home to a vast network of waterways. It's also home to one of the most populated river basins, the Ganges, which spans more than 2,510 kilometers, or 1,560 miles,
swim
and supports hundreds of millions of people.
Right. It's disgusting.
Exactly.
I've seen people wading through.
Unfortunately, this heavily contaminated river is considered extremely holy, believed by many Hindus to be the physical embodiment of the goddess Ganga, or Ganga. Water holds deep spiritual significance in India, where several religious traditions link elements of natural world to divine beings or sacred energies. So they need to keep on keeping this water strong and healthy, because, I mean, if you want to use religion as a reason to do it, sure, go ahead. I'm all for it. You shouldn't need religion to tell you to keep the water clean, but if you need it to do it, then do it. These celebrations for the river are often cast into the water, including figurines to decorative plastic flowers. They take place daily from the banks of the Yamuna River in Delhi to Chennai on the Bay of Bengal. Unfortunately, Krishnamurthy notes this practice contributes to pollution because water doesn't like plastic, not just in a natural waterway, but also in the step wells. the irresponsible behavior toward nature and cultural heritage structures is the reason why we are in this mess. Krishnamurti says, it's very demotivating at times, he confesses, but he vows he won't give up. To change the tide, EFI engages in public awareness campaigns, school programs, and wall paintings to help build a sense of community and ownership to ensure the long-term preservation of these important life-sustaining structures. To even have the basic opportunity to work on some of these, I think, is a blessing, he adds, and we are ready to give our fullest to it. So, I guess if you find yourself wanting to support India's initiatives to not just save natural water bodies, but also these step wells, check out EFI, and I guess you can donate to them somewhere.
Right. I got a great metaphor for you.
Yeah, give me one. Hit me.
Change is like a mighty river, right? It snakes, it hits a barrier and snakes its way around it, and it's finding its way. It hits another barrier and snakes its way around it. But after a while, after hitting that barrier and snaking, it weakens the barrier, right? And it creates a new path. It creates a new path to the sea. There's your metaphor. Change is like a river.
We gotta... Change is always happening, but it doesn't mean it has to be bad. It can be good change.
Yeah, I had on my thinking cap for that one. Throw that thinking
I'm proud.
Cap. Who needs that? I don't need. Let me
snooze this ad. Okay, my next story is shorter, and it's about a polar bear adoption. So, a polar bear cub was orphaned, and another polar bear mom came over and said, hey, I'll take care of you. And it's the first time they've ever been able to film it happening, because I'm sure it's happened plenty of times, but this is the first proof that has occurred. This is by Rachel Funnell on IFL Science. A female polar bear in Canada's Churchill, Manitoba has been observed and captured on camera with an adopted cub that is not her own. Yeah, that's how adoption works. Thank you for defining adoption. Adoption among polar bears isn't unheard of, but it's extremely rare, and it's even rarer still for scientists to identify and film the adopted polar bear family. The rest of this... The mother is a bear known as Bear X33991. What a lovely name. I'm going to name my child that. She's part of the Western Hudson Bay subpopulation of polar bears in this part of the world. To date, this marks only the 13th known case of adoption among 4,600 bears that live here, which have been studied for the last 45 years. When Bear X33991 came out of her maternity den in spring 25, she had just one cub that was tagged by scientists. You can understand their confusion then when she was spotted again in fall of 25 with two cubs in tow. Where'd you get the other one? One with a tag and one without. It's not known what happened to the adopted cub's biological mother. In some cases, the mothers of adopted cubs are found to be still alive, just abandoned. This is what's known as switching of litters, where cubs go from one mother to another without being orphaned. Scientists are now analyzing genetic samples from the adopted cub to see if the mother is known to them. Raising a cub is energetically expensive for a polar bear mom, which raises the question, why bother getting a second one? It's a particularly perplexing behavior for animals that are typically solitary, but they are fierce moms. Female polar bears are really good moms, and so they're just primed for looking after and caring for their offspring. And we kind of think if there's a little cub that's bawling on the coast and has lost its mother, these females just can't help themselves but take them on and look after them. So it's really curious behavior and an interesting aspect of polar bear life history, said Dr. Evan Richardson, polar bear research scientist, Environment and Climate Change, Canada, in a statement emailed to IFL Science. Whether this is the kind of adoption actually constitutes altruism is debatable. When you're studying animals, you want to be careful not to humanize them, because you're going to fill in gaps that are not be filled in properly, right? Well, I'm a human, so I would do this. Well, I don't think a polar bear is a human, so it's not going to think the same way as us. A 2015 study on polar bear adoption noted that while adaptive explanations such as kin selection, reciprocal altruism, milk evacuation, right? I just got too much milk. I need somebody to empty. Or gaining parental experience have been proposed. Adoption may instead simply be the result of an error, particularly when a female is hormonally or behavioral primed. It's just in the instincts, huh? As Richardson said, to provide care while raising her own cub. Motivations aside, one thing we know for certain... Sorry?
Is this a suckling?
What are you asking?
Still suckling? Was it still breastfeeding? Was the cub still suckling? Was it still?
It doesn't say. It didn't give me any of that information in this story.
Okay.
But you can assume. I'm assuming that it was suckling off the polar bear. Where was I? Oh, yes. Motivation aside, one thing they know for certain is that the adopted cuz is very fortunate to found itself a new family. The survival rate for cubs to make it to adulthood is not great, said Elisa McCall, Director of Conservation Outreach and Staff Scientist, Polar Bears International. It's around 50%, give or take, depending on the year. But we know that if a little cub has no mom, it almost has no chance. So the fact that this cub got adopted and has a chance to learn lessons about being a bear and to be taken care for a couple of years really does give it a shot at making it to adulthood. Good luck, Bear X33991, Accidental Polar Bear Mom of the Year. Number what? They say 15 previous times they've seen this? 13th, sorry. This is the 13th known case of it. But it's actually been caught on, I think the extraordinary part is that it was caught on film, like the actual adoption or something.
Out of a population of how many bears?
All right, give me your simile or metaphor.
50,000. You said 14 times, but how many bears in the population?
Oh, it doesn't really say that.
In the story.
Yeah.
14,000 or something like that.
It doesn't give me all of that. It doesn't give me the entire demographic. Oh, sorry. No, it did. 4,600 bears live in the Hudson Bay subpopulation, and 13 have been adopted. In 45 years, so 50 years.
I know we came up with a figure. I think there came up with a population of 1,000 in Greenland, and then we extrapolated that there's about 1,000 billionaires in the world, and that kind of works out.
Yeah.
No, it's 2,500. There's 2,500 bears in Greenland, 2,500 billionaires. Perfect solution there.
I guess since there's almost double that, 2 bears for every rich person.
Billionaires, specifically billionaires. If you don't want to be fed to the bears, you might want to give away a lot of your. You would give away 80% of your money, you still get 200 million. Anyway, that wasn't my metaphor. My metaphor started out as polar bears are kind of like the canary in the coal mine for my metaphor. But my metaphor turned into this bear is like a wet nurse. If you don't know what a wet nurse is, you might watch anything about royalty. Emperor, you watch that, right? The last emperor was born, and the mom did not suckle the baby. A wet nurse, which is a woman who just recently gave birth, who was hired by the crown, or whatever they call the emperor there, to feed the baby. So this is a polar bear wet nurse, is what my conclusion is. Metaphor.
Thanks, polar bear wet nurse. Oh, not sad horn, sorry. It is
cute,
you're rich
though. Enough to afford a wet.
So cute, little polar bear wet nurse.
If you're rich enough to afford a wet nurse, this is why there was a French Revolution and the Chinese Revolution. Don't forget that. And the Chinese overthrew their government a long time.
This is the Hudson Revolution.
The Hudson Revolution. No, there can be no comparison between. This is a wet nurse of necessity and convenience, not the wet nurse of, oh boy, I'm rich, I can do anything I want, and including hired somebody else to feed my kid.
Okay, I'm gonna write you a limerick for your next story.
Right, my next story is all about Festivus. I did send you a video. What is Festivus? Well, sometimes people just don't know. It's an invented holiday by one of the writers on the Jerry Seinfeld show.
So to be fair, all the holidays are invented.
True, but not by a television
one day and
show.
Somebody was like, "Hey, we should put a tree up." My intuition is telling me put a tree.
This television, I think television was invented in like 1925 or 26. I don't think every holiday is from television. Just this one. And this is from FestivusWeb.com. It's an update. Happy Festivus for the rest of us, it says. And there's no writer, because who would take credit for this? Festivus is a secular holiday normally celebrated on December 23rd. It is mainly meant as an alternative to the pressures and commercialization of Christmas season. However, it has become a day to celebrate the everlasting comedy of the 1990s television show Seinfeld. Festivus was a holiday featured in the season 9 Seinfeld episode The Strike, which first aired on December 18th in 1997. Since then, this zany, offbeat Seinfeld holiday has inspired many people, leading to them to celebrate Festivus like any other holiday. I would say December 18th, 1997 is very coincidental with the time where the internet really took off, right? It was kind of a lame little thing full of emails up until then. The Seinfeld model, of course, data rates and, chip capacity changed a lot. The Seinfeld model states that the celebration of Festivus occurs in December 23rd. However, many people celebrate it at other times in December and even throughout the year. An unadorned aluminum pole manifests the usual holiday tradition of a tree, which I have one in the front yard. I have an owl on top of it, and it stays there year-round, so I don't have to do anything. It's already there. The Festivus pole is already in place. Those attending Festivus may also participate in airing of the grievances, which is an opportunity to tell others how they have disappointed you in the past year, which I look forward to, followed by a Festivus dinner, and then completed by the feats of strength, where the head of household must be pinned. All of these traditions are based upon events in the Seinfeld episodes. Strangely enough, our Festivus traditions also have roots that predate Seinfeld, as they began in the households of Dan O'Keefe, a television writer who is credited with writing the Seinfeld episode. The tradition of greeting of Festivus is Happy Festivus. The slogan of Festivus is a Festivus for the rest of us. Now they're putting an ad. They're trying to sell us a book, by the way. It says Festivus the book. No, 100% tinsel free. We're going to skip on that. There's a link to the video. In the episode of The Strike, the Seinfeld episode, Frank Costanza, father of George Costanza, tells the story of a routine outing to a secure Christmas gift for his son. Let's do this again. Tells the story of a routine outing to secure a Christmas gift for his son George, where he came to the realization that there should be a new holiday. Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, and so did another man. As rain blows upon him, I realized that there had to be another way. Cosmo Kramer says, "What happened to the doll?" "Oh, it was destroyed, but out of that new holiday was born a Festivus for the rest of us. That must have been some kind of doll," Kramer says. "She was." Anyway, the episode continues. Kramer becomes interested in resurrecting the holiday after hearing about the plight of his friend Frank Costanza's son, George, played by Jason Alexander. Meanwhile, George uses Festivus, a holiday once hated in his youth, as an excuse to his boss, Mr. Kruger, after he had been confronted for handing out cards suggesting a donation had been made to a fake charity called the Human Fund. George defended himself, saying that he feared persecution for his beliefs, attempting to call his bluff. Kruger insisted he accompany George to his home and see Festivus in action. Kramer, who is also invited to the celebration, goes on strike from his bagel vendor shop when his manager tells him he can't get time off for Festivus. Kramer is then seen on the street with a sign that reads, "Festivus yes, bagels no." You go on strike from basically a low-paid job like that, they'll just fire you, man. The Festivus episode of Seinfeld reveals how the Festivus celebrations includes the four main components: the Festivus pole. The Costanza tradition begins with an unendowed aluminum pole, with Frank praises for its very high strength to weight ratio. The pole was chosen in opposition to the highly decorated commercialized Christmas tree because it is very low maintenance, and most importantly, because the holiday's patron, Frank Costanza, finds tinsel distracting. And number 2, the airing of the grievances at the beginning of the Festivus dinner. Each participant tells friends and family all the times they have disappointed him or her in the past year, as quoted by Frank Costanza. "I've got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it." Number 3, Festivus dinner. In The Strike, a celebration dinner takes place on the evening of Festivus before the feats of strength. In the episode, the meal appeared to be a meatloaf, which I made yesterday, by the way, so I got some meatloaf in the fridge for Festivus. And On a bed of lettuce. I can get some lettuce. No alcohol was served, but George Costanza's boss, Mr. Kruger, drank from a flask. So yeah, there your whatever, secret drinking. Number 4, the feats of strength. This is almost over. The feats of strength. After the dinner, the head of the household tests his or her strength against one participant of the head's choosing. Festivus is not considered over until the head of the family has been pinned. However, a participant may be allowed to decline an attempt to pin the head of household only if they have something better to do instead, which basically anybody could probably come up with something better to do. Even though it is not an official element of the holiday, the Festivus miracle, the phenomenon of the Festivus miracle is mentioned twice in the original episode. You obviously send up the phrase Christmas miracle. Both manifests of Seinfeld's Festivus miracle were caused by Kramer. In today's society, the term Festivus miracle has become far more mainstream. The idea of Festivus, let's see, the Human Fund. Let's do one more. The Human Fund is a fake charity used by George Costanza. Instead of buying Christmas gifts for his coworkers, he gave a card that stated that a donation had been made to the charity called the Human Fund. The slogan of the Human Fund was money for people. It was such a good scam that George's boss, Mr. Kruger, gave George a company check for $20,000 to the Human Fund. Later, the accounting department informs Kruger the charity doesn't exist, causing a chain of events to see George inviting Kruger to his father's Festivus celebration. So again, if you have any donations, make them to the Human Fund. And since that's not real, send it to us, because we'll take donations too. And there's your Festivus story. That's right. Money for people.
Yeah, give those humans money. I'm a human. You're a human. We're all humans. Give yourself some money too. Yeah. Why not that?
That's actually my number one charity. Is I give it to the guy who asked me for some money. Right? It's my number charity, or a woman, whatever. One time I was cleaning up. You remember that vehicle I used to drive for work? That Jeep. You rode it a bunch of times, right? Well, they updated my vehicle. I got that Ford Explorer, right? So I had to turn the Jeep into the whatever the company so they could take it back to the leasing agency. So I was cleaning it out, and I found a $20 bill. It's like, I found a $20 bill. And on my way leaving, because I had a new vehicle, driving out of the parking lot, there's a lady there with 2 small children, and I gave her the $20 bill because it ain't mine. I just found it.
Here you go. I found some free money. You can have it. Whatever. I mean, this is what I love about living in villages, right? Because when I went to the store, I think on Sunday, there was a woman there whose phone got stolen. Now, here in the Netherlands, we've gone pretty contactless. Even before COVID, we were pretty contactless. So, people pay for stuff with their phone and with their bank account on their phone. Since she lost her phone, she couldn't pay for any of the groceries. She only had 15 euros on her. And so she had to put some stuff back. And everyone, one of the managers of the store was like, we know where you live. You're part of the village. We'll give you an IOU. For next 3 days, all the stores are going to be closed here because of Christmas. So,
don't give me money.
Just take what you need so that you have food in your house, during the time when the stores are all going to be closed. And you can pay us later when you get that fixed. It's like not a big deal. So
I hate it when people treat food like treasure, too.
Yeah.
Like, that food's just going to go bad someday. You're going to throw it out. But no, it's like, oh my God, it's treasure. No, there's somebody hungry. Just give them some food. Just shut the hell up.
Exactly.
You'll make it up. Plus, you throw food away anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, you got.
Yes, I have a limerick here.
Story here.
In December, we gather with cheer for a holiday that's oh so dear, with a pole standing tall and grievances for all. Happy Festivus. Let's spread some good cheer. I know I rhymed cheer with cheer, but I couldn't think of another word there.
Beer.
Let's spread some beer.
Norman Lear.
I don't know if you drink beer on Festivus, but
Pier. Don't forget Pier. Let's be into the Pier.
Let's spread some good peer.
Queer.
I mean, it is a queer holiday for sure. It's quite a queer holiday.
Up here is a good one. You can.
But there's your limerick. And is that your only story?
Yeah, that's quite long. So, you'd be thankful I don't have another story. Speaking of things to be thankful for,
let's roll our segue for our next culture news. I couldn't really find some positive culture news. Give me a hypothetical.
I thought the Oscars was positive news.
So I think this is good enough, I guess. It's about, where is my culture news? Since we're talking about Festivus, let's talk about the weird European folklore that surrounds the holiday season, because I'm sure everyone's probably told you your entire life,
Weird Wednesday?
Christmas is a stolen holiday from pagan traditions. Jesus was born in like March or April or May. Yeah. Jesus was not born but they decided in a way to, let's say, colonize pagan traditions. Christians move their holidays to the same date so that they could say, look, now you're celebrating Christmas, blah, blah, blah. But these are some original folklore from Europe that people celebrate all around the continent, I guess. This is from David Morecambe on Euronews Culture. While you're overindulging in the festive cheer and the rampant commercial takeover of these holidays, keep these strange Christmas folklore figures in mind. Whether it's the anti-Santa cat from Iceland or a child-chopping murder from France, there's plenty that's bleak around the holidays. We've probably done this article every year. I know Euronews has probably done this article every year, but we don't know who's watching the show, and so let us know if you watch us every Christmas and this is the 15th time you've heard this story. You may have heard of Grinch, this dastardly yin to Santa's benevolent yang, but there are some strange Christmas traditions in Europe that might have slipped off your radar. Here are 5 of David's favorites, and by favorites he means nightmare-inducing and not overtly racist, so sorry the Netherlands. No Zwarte Piet on the list this year. These are including a bonus silly one for cheer and all that. First,
a list.
It's Le Pere Foutard from France, Belgium, and Switzerland. Le Pere Foutard, literally Father Whipper, is a cloaked and bearded character who acts as St. Nicholas's horrific enforcer. Every 6th of December, he delivers punishments to naughty children, usually in the form of lumps and coal and beatings. Plus, he loves noises, as his presence is usually accompanied by whips cracking, hooves scraping the ground, and sounds of chains. The tradition harks back to 1252, when an innkeeper captured 3 wealthy boys on their way to enroll in religious boarding school. Wishing to rob them, he and his wife drugged, murdered, and chopped them up into little scamps, letting them stew in a barrel. Discovering this, St. Nicholas resurrected the children and reassembled them. Patron saint of children and quite the wizard when it comes to thread and needle, St. Nicholas then cursed the innkeeper to an eternity of penance for the murders, twisting his body into a shadowy figure doomed to serve at his side, and thus was born Le Pere Foutard. The tale has it in variations and plot holes, as punishing a killer of children by making him torture misbehaving kids for all eternity sounds a bit nonsensical, but not every curse like. Wouldn't it have been easier to just prevent the poisoning and dismembering in the first place? Since then, the tale has showed up in popular cultures and films, books, and famously in Jacques Dutronc's song La Fille du Père Noël, which describes Pierre Foutard's son having a crush on Santa Claus's daughter. Ooh, the drama! Coming out of Italy is Befana, the witch. In Italy, a broomstick-riding witch named Befana delivers sweets and presents to good children and punishes the bad ones. Legend has it that the crone missed the birth of Jesus and has been doing the rounds on the 5th of January, Epiphany Eve, as penance ever since. Harsh. She is portrayed as having ember eyes, sharp teeth, and a cutting tongue, and a sooty face as she comes down the chimneys to both treat and punish children. Many people believe the name Befana is derived from the Italian version of the Greek word Epifania, or Epiphaniae, and effigies of her are burnt in order to mock her. Again harsh, as this is because she missed Jesus' birthday. You missed my birthday, I curse you! Everyone's favorite horror-based holiday character, of course, is Krampus from Austria and Germany. Half goat, half Demas, this anthropomorphic terror is the counterpart to St. Nicholas and the son of Hel, the Norse god of the underworld. Krampus, whose name is taken from the German word for claw, shows up on the 5th of December, known as Krampusnacht. He beats children who are naughty and has even been known to kidnap them. The Catholic Church tried to ban him for his resemblance to the devil, spoil sports, and the Nazis even had a go banning Krampus for its pagan origins. To this day, there are still traditional... There's something really funny about being a National Socialist, but then still being Christian, when if you really want to be a proud German, you think you'd be celebrating ancient German rituals like Krampus instead of Christianity, but nobody said Nazis weren't hypocrites.
Right.
To this day, there are still traditional parades celebrating Krampus, especially the Krampus Lauf, Krampus Run, in which people dressed as Krampus attempt to scare younglings with their antics. Krampus also got something of a cultural resurgence in TV, movies, and video games. The character has been featured in episodes of Scooby-Doo and American Dad, the 2015 horror film Krampus starring Adam Scott and Toni Collette. It's not half bad, as well as a series of mediocre sequels, spin-offs like Krampus the Reckoning, Krampus Unleashed, Krampus, The Devil Returns, and even Mother Krampus. No, not the mom! Then we have Jólakötturinn from Iceland. In a beautiful downtown Reykjavik, on Leijardtong Squared is a giant illuminated cat sculpture called Jólakötturinn. So far, so delightful. But this child-chomping Yule cat has a dark backstory. As the tale goes, the giant feline eats children who don't get new clothes for Christmas. So make sure you give your kids some new clothes. It dates back to 1932 when Johannes Kotlum, an Icelandic poet, wrote about the Yule cat in his book Jólinkoma, Christmas is Coming. His poem describes a large puss with glowing eyes that roams the countryside, going from house to house looking for children to consume. Should the scamps not be wearing the new clothes they got for Christmas? To avoid this fate, kids should do their chores in order to be deemed good enough to get new clothes, even if it's the modest pair of new socks, in order to remain amongst the living. Oh, and they should be thankful for the gifts they receive. Over time, it became a morality tale that states that we should all help each other in the spirit of the season, not forget the luxuries we might be taking for granted, and help those less fortunate with small but vital gestures like new clothes. Otherwise, it's a massacre courtesy of Hannibal Lecter. There's your free pun.
Oh.
Then we've got from Greece, Bulgaria, and Serbia, the Kalikantzaroi. The Kalikantzaroi. They're hairy little goblins who live underground for most of the year, where they attempt to bring about the apocalypse by sawing down the world tree, or Yggdrasil in Norse mythology. Nefarious, but everyone needs a hobby. For Christmas Day and the following 12 nights, the goblins are allowed to roam the earth where they attempt to gain entry to people's houses and play pranks on them. So, how best to avoid finding goblin shit in your bed or a rearranged home? Well, tradition states that you should hang a pig jawbone in the doorframe. Alternatively, put a colander on the doorstep. It'll distract the goblins as they stop to count the holes. Apparently, they can only count to 2, so that will keep them busy for 12 nights before they're sent back to the healed world tree and begin their fruitless endeavor to hack its trunk for another year. And here's the bonus, silly Christmas festival, celebration, of course. The Catalan log that shits out sweets and presents. It's probably the Caja Tio, or Tio de Nadal, which all means shitting log, or poop log, is a wooden log decorated with a face that feeds treats throughout December. Then, on Christmas Eve, it's basically a piñata, but a log. On Christmas Eve, the children beat the log with sticks and sing traditional songs to coax it into shitting out its sweets and gifts. One of the songs goes like this. Caja Tio, Tio de Nadal, no cajas arigatas, que son masas saladas, cacatorons que son mis bones, which translates to poop log of Christmas. Don't poop salted herring, they are too salty. Poop turons, they are much better. As strange as it all sounds, it's hardly surprising. Wandering around Christmas markets in Catalonia, and you'll end up stumbling across a caganer, a bare-bottomed pooping figurine wearing a traditional Catalan Berrentina red cap. The caganer, or Catalan for pooper, figure traditionally depicts a squatting peasant with his trousers dropped to reveal a bare backside. At Christmas, the miniature figures are placed alongside Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. He was in the other stall, relieving himself. Feces and defecation are common in Catalan folklore, including the popular Catalan phrase, "Je said before a meal, Menja becaga fort y no tingues por la mort, which translates to eat well, shit strong, and don't be afraid of death. That's a great phrase to live by. The tiki tradition isn't meant to be blasphemous, but rather a source of luck and prosperity. I think being able to have a good moving digestive system is a great indicator of your health, so yeah. Make sure you shit strong. Rather than a source of luck and prosperity for a new year. One theory suggests that the Caganer represents fertility and the fertilization of the earth, thereby being a symbol of prosperity and good health. And it turns out that Europe loves a pooper, as the Caganer is not the only defecating character you find. In Italy, specifically near the Naples area, you can stumble across the Cacone or Pastor Ceccaca, a similar figure to the Caganer, also placed in the Neapolitan nativity scene. It is a symbol of good luck and the miracle of birth. Similarly, the French have Pere la Culque. The Portuguese have Cagos. A poo-poo serves as a leveling device to bring the mighty down. You all may be powerful and strong, but you all have to sit down and shit on the toilet. There is your, I guess, positively spun Christmas traditions from Europe.
Oh, wow. Wow, positively spun. There you go.
Just, a great proof that we're all out there making shit up, really. Literally making shit.
European holiday is not an American holiday in any way. We just brought it from Europe, and a bunch of people started celebrating, and it just caught on, just like everything else. Made up holiday, just like all holidays. And segues into my made up holiday I was just talking about, Festivus, because we were talking about Christmas. And I was thinking, is there any Festivus carols? And I don't think there is. So I actually wrote the first few lines of one of them, but I just titled a few of them without writing any lyrics. We have Frosty the Pole Man, after the Festivus Bowl. Oh, Poly Sight instead of Oh Holy Night. Oh, Poly Sight, right? And here's another one. It's called The Grievance Song, not the Christmas song.
I wish I had grievances for you, but I don't write them down.
Yeah, instead of rocking around the Christmas tree, we're going to have wrestling around the grievance pole. So, wrestling around the Festivus pole. By the way, I did start some lyrics for the grievance song. Here's it goes. The grievance song goes like this. Meatloaf resting on a lettuce leaf, nothing on your aluminum pole. Feats of strength after dinner, and grievances held, now exposed. Everybody knows.
Thank you for your hypothetical
grievance song.
Festivus caroling.
Instead of saying Merry Christmas at the end, it says, I got a lot of problems with you. There you go. The grievance ball. Let's call it the grievance ball. Anyway. Let's say that's great. Let's do something else. Bonus singing. I should get points for singing.
Thank you for your bonus singing. Let's roll our segue for this day in history.
I can do casual lounge lizard voice.
And we've got mixed metaphor. Take it away, history.
And though it's said many times, many ways, I've got some problems with you. There you go. That was the end of the song. In 1783, on this day, George Washington, I heard that guy, before the Continental Congress, resigned as commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. And he made one of the Nixon speeches. You won't have George Washington to kick around anymore. And of course, he came back to be kicked around.
He probably still had a British accent, I bet. Because he was a British general.
We're speaking of made-up religions. This guy made up his own religion. In 1805, Joseph Smith, the American prophet who founded the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was born in Sharon, Vermont. Great idea for a religion. You get people, that thing called tithing, where you give a certain amount of your money to the church, or you can't be in the church. So
just another way to control women as well, for anybody who's not aware.
Of course, he could take as many wives as he wanted.
Decided this is how women should be treated. Okay, good luck with that.
Yes. Yeah. Joseph Smith, of course, was beaten to death by a mob. I don't know
Deserved.
whether he had it coming or not. But I don't know whether he had it coming or not.
If you know anything about his beliefs, I would say he deserved it.
Again, the Mormon Church. If you're a Mormon, good luck to you. Whatever, man. Religions to me are just like clubs.
He was out there marrying 20 women at the same time, so.
Which was legal in the Mormon Church until whenever. 1815, Jane Austen published her fourth novel, Emma, which centers on a precocious young woman whose misplaced confidence or matching abilities occasions several romantic misadventures. That's a lot of that. Emma, that has been made to a movie. I think I saw that a while back on an airplane. Joseph Smith, let's see, he was born in Sharon, Vermont. Did I bring that up? He's from Vermont, I think he ended up in Ohio or Illinois anyway. He never did get to Utah. But if you go to Salt Lake City, there's a big statue of him there. 1913, with the signing of the Federal Reserve. With the signing of the Federal Reserve Act. Oh no, let's do 1876 first. 1876, the first comprehensive constitution of the Ottoman Empire went into effect, giving the Sultan full executive power. Good for the Sultan, I guess, but the Ottoman Empire don't exist anymore. 1913.
The Sultan of Swing.
Yeah, Mark Knopfler is now the Sultan of Swing. He always has been since he wrote that song. 1913, with the signing of the Federal Reserve Act by U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, the Federal Reserve System came into being. The Federal Reserve, they pay interest on bonds, and they loan money to people, especially banks and countries, I guess. 1929, jazz trumpeter and vocalist Chet Baker, who was noted for the plaintive, fragile tone of his playing and singing, was born in Yale, Oklahoma, which is North Oklahoma. 1941, early in World War II, invading U.S. Let's do this again. In World War II, invading Japanese forces defeated U.S. troops at the Battle of Wake Island. Wakey, wakey. 1968, 82 crewmen at the 80. Let's do this again. This is one of your events that was my childhood. I remember this. 82 crewmen of USS Pueblo were released after being held in captivity for 11 months by North Korea, which claimed the U.S. Navy intelligence ship had crossed into its waters. North Korea were dickheads back then. They're still dickheads. 1972, running back Franco Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers made the Immaculate Reception, a dramatic catch that is regarded as one of the most famous plays in NFL history. Hopefully you got your video and you're ready to load it. The saddest part about Franco Harris's 50th is not the play itself. It's 50 years later, the Immaculate Reception was going to be celebrated, right? December 23rd, 2022. Unfortunately, Franco Harris died on December 20th of 2022, 3 days before the celebration. So Franco didn't even get to celebrate the 50 years. But hey, he got to win the Super Bowl 3, 4 times. I don't feel too bad for him. 2001, Argentina announced the suspension of payments on its external debt, the biggest debt default in history to date. And here we are giving Argentina more money. Isn't that just great? 2024, Shyam Benegal, a leading Indian director of died in Mumbai. He was a leading Indian director of non-mainstream Hindi cinema and one of his prolific filmmakers. So he died in his day. Featured event, Vincent Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, as he's called in Europe, parts of it. I guess that's what you call him where you live, right? Van Gogh or Van Gogh. Anyway, Vincent cut off his ear, part of his ear today in 1888 after an argument with his fellow artist Paul Gauguin, with whom he had been sharing a house. Van Gogh reportedly then delivered his ear to a nearby brothel. Art historians have debated the incident, often framing it within his brief, prolific career and his struggles with mental health. Oh, you've got problems with mental health if you're cutting off your own ear. Let's just go out on a limb and say that's probably true. Oh, it's such a controversial thing to say he was having struggles with mental health. Yeah, well, you know what? Probably pretty accurate. Our feature biography is Akihito, the Emperor of Japan, who apparently is still alive at the age of 92. He was born on this day, December 23rd in 1733, and this would make him 92. And picture him waving, which appears to be his only duty. Other birthdays today, we did Joe Smith, if that is his real name. In 1867, birthday is Madam C.J. Walker, American businessman and philanthropist. And Madam before her name makes me wonder what kind of business that was. 1929, Chet Baker, American musician and vocalist, was born. We did that. We did the Emperor of Japan. It's Joseph Dunford, United States General, born in 1955. So he'd be, if he is still around, he'd be 70 today. National days calendar besides Festivus, which we already covered extensively, and we mentioned National Roots Day. It's National Roots Day. It's about your ancestry, where you came from, and everybody came from somewhere. And it's a complete, absolute, astronomical event that you even exist. And think of it that way. Just being alive is something that you should never take for granted. And it's National Peppernusi Day. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but I will spell it in case this ever comes up on Scrabble. I don't know if there's enough letters in Scrabble to spell this. Pfefffernusse. I don't think there's enough F's in Scrabble unless you use one of the blanks. But I'm gonna look forward to spelling this. It'll take up the whole top line. Words with Friends. I'm sorry, I don't play. This is Scrabble. Scrabble owned by one of them Parker Brothers or something. Anyway, there's my stories, your events, your nonsense, your mispronunciation, your limericks for December 23rd, 2025 on Before Furnace. It's a big fluffy white thing, it looks like. Looks maybe that's what it is. It's UFOs.
Yeah, maybe.
Tasty UFO. Somebody's throwing one at you at the UFO, at least while it's flying at you, it is. What's that? Oh, shit. UFO. It was unidentified right until it hit. Let's get on with the thing here we're doing.
Well, if we don't see you over this holiday season, make sure you're not pulling all your chickens in the head of the clouds.
I thought you're mixing in metaphors.
We want to have those chickens for next year, too.
Sleeping at the Yeah!
And sadly, yet again, there's no international days or week this week. Just go celebrate the holiday. And I said this earlier when I started streaming at the beginning of my stream, which was appreciate the things that you were able to do this year, right? Don't end this year in regret for things that you could have done or things that didn't go the way you wanted. And take some positive energy, because it's Good Tuesday Day, so take some of that positive energy about how things are all shit into 2026.
And here's right.
This has been Allison here from the Netherlands and Roger from the East Coast of the US as we tie off another Good Tuesday. We will see you tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday. We're going to look up some more weird things going on this week in our last full week of the year. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of wacky and weird stuff here in the holidays. If you would like to support us, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel to let YouTube know that we have people who want to watch our videos, and the more subscribers we get, the more YouTube pushes us out into those recommended pages, into this up next pages, and people will watch this more and support our not artificial and not intelligence, okay? Only something humans can provide.
Right. Interruptions, mispronunciations. We do have the mispronunciations down, though. Don't confuse us there. We do mispronounce things.
And you can, of course, support this show on Patreon as well. You can see the post and pre-show if you miss any of the live streams, where we're just ranting about Marco Rubio for 10 minutes or whatever.
We can just call ourselves AI, artificial.
Yeah. We will see you guys tomorrow for Wagging Wood Wednesday. Here is our mic drop moment.
Last chance for the Steelers.
Interception.
Bradshaw trying to get away.
Not an interception.
Sorry, not an
interception. Is broken up by Tatum.
Interception. Whole other thing.
Rachel Harris has it. And he's over.
That was lucky. That's crazy. That guy got flinged across the field.
The one Franco. The score was 6-0 until this play. And this basically ended.
Oh my goodness. They're all running on the fields. They're crazy.
Pittsburgh hadn't won shit ever before this game. Just wanted to point that out. Right, they had no winning before. Then they went and won 4 Super Bowls.
For a while, the Steelers
They didn't win it this year.
I wouldn't say they won a couple of.
They won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. 4.
Watch this, ricochet.
They didn't win it this year, but this started them on their way.
Ricochet out there, off of Jack Tatum, and into the man
I know
of the year,
in my life
Franco
there was way
Harris's
more.
They don't have the clock on the screen.
And the Patriots won a lot too.
That was a desperation
play. You talk about Christmas miracles. Here's the miracle of all miracles.
It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
Bradshaw's lucky to even get rid of the ball.
Festivus miracle.
He shoots it out.
Yeah, sorry, a Festivus miracle.
It should be part of the
and he sets off.
And the big 200.
And for anybody who doesn't know the rules of NFL, right, the ball drops. That's the end of the play.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.